And what about, applying different interview styles and techniques? So we actually get to see the candidate in the best light. Because I've found, and I'm absolutely certain you see every single time, that people attend interviews with a mask on. They kind of step into a persona that they think they need to be, which is nothing nearly as amazing as who they truly are. How do you create an interview environment where you get to see who the heart and soul of the person is, rather than what they say being technically right past the interview?
Okay, you made an interesting point that they put on a persona or a mask and it might not show how amazing they are. The real worry is that the persona or mask shows them to be something that they're not. It shows them to be brilliant when actually, when you employ them, they turn out to be less than the sum of those parts. So that's slightly more of a worry for me, that if you find out you've unearthed a bit of a rough diamond without knowing it, that's only a win, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Anyway, going back to what you said about the assessment process, I don't think recruiting salespeople is interview-based alone. I think what you've got to do is put them into environments or situations, and I hate the word role play, but simulations, if you like, of what the world looks like, the job looks like, what situations they may find themselves in, good, bad, and difficult, to see how they react. So I'd be looking at saying, my process is I'll always do a telephone interview first with somebody. And I want a telephone interview to screen them in or out. That telephone interview is not really a traditional recruitment interview. It's more of a meeting of minds. Do they look a right fit for us culturally? Is there an energy about them? Are we right for them? Let alone the other way around. Once I've screened them, I'll shortlist them, and then we could do an assessment centre, which could be a day or half a day. But you can bring everybody in together. So you bring 5 or 6 candidates in for one role, and you put them through a series of initiatives and tests, and some of which are individual, some of which are team, and you see how they work in team dynamics. So you create a bit of a mini networking scenario, you create a prioritization exercise, you do some telephone kind of work, you do a group exercise on problem solving, you do an exercise on creating a pitch, and how they work together, because very few pitches are created in isolation. So you're going to have to work with other team members to create them. Who's got leadership skills? Who's treading all over people? Who's conciliatory? Who's collaborative? And actually, what often happens there is the candidate who comes in with the sharpest suit, the brashest voice, the loudest personality, often isn't the chosen candidate, because those are not necessarily the skills you're looking for. And the person who is allowed to develop and shine in that assessment environment will often be the one who comes to the fore. And I'll tell you now, some of the best salespeople I've ever worked with are just fairly quietly competent. They go under the radar at a staff night out. They're confident in themselves, but not too brash. They're almost embarrassed at their success because it's just what they do. And, what's all the fuss about? And I encourage and applaud people who look to recruit those kind of people, because they're the ones who will necessarily potentially turn out to be the best candidates. Not in all cases.